Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another episode of How I Shot It. Today we have the incredibly talented Marlies Hartmann. Hey everyone, this is Trevor Daly and I am here today with Marlies Hartmann. Marlies, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How can people find you? All that good stuff.
Hi, I am Marlies Hartmann. I am from Los Angeles, but I've lived all over the country. So if you live there, I've probably lived there at some point. But I've been based here for the past 10 years. And you can find me on Instagram at m.hart photography, H-A-R-T for my last name, Hartmann. And Facebook under my name, Marlies Hartmann.
Awesome. As you're talking here, we'll toss up a little Instagram title so people can find you. Guys, go check out Marlies' work. It is absolutely phenomenal. And the reason we have her on today is because she actually has been posting in the community, and her posts are always getting these phenomenal responses. I can just tell you guys love it. In fact, Marlies, one of your photos was our first Instagram photo on the MagMod Instagram page to get over 1,000 likes. So I think that happened what was it, 6 months ago or something like that? But
yeah, that was super exciting.
Yeah, so I think what's cool is not only are you using MagMod in really cool ways, but you're creating photos that people are just like mesmerized by. So I'm stoked to have you here. I was so excited to meet you a couple weeks ago when JD and I were out in California as well. That was a lot of fun. So with that, we're going to jump right into this. Is that cool?
Awesome, let's do it.
All right, so Marlies, one of my favorite photos that you posted in the community was one where you have a couple and it was in a room, and I think I was more blown away by the behind the scenes result and how you created the full image. Let's start with the full image, maybe talk about that, and then we can kind of show the behind the scenes. Is that cool?
Yeah.
So
we're going to start with behind the scenes?
Yeah, either way actually. Okay,
cool. So I'm looking at the straight out of camera shot that I sent you.
Uh-huh.
And so ultimately, this couple got, they called me 3 days before their elopement in Santa Barbara at the courthouse, which is a place where I really wanted to shoot, and I've been really excited to shoot there. And after their ceremony, I knew when I saw this, it's called the mural room, and I knew when I saw it that was where I wanted to shoot some portraits with them. Mm-hmm. And we had one wall with these two floor to ceiling windows that were just absolutely beautiful, and the light was streaming in. And then the room had these really cool tungsten lights, and it had a chandelier and all this stuff. And so I really wanted to highlight that in a cool way. And so after we got a few shots just using natural light, I gave my assistant a monopod, which I think you can barely see her in the picture, but you can see she's holding a monopod with, we had the grid, the 1/4 CTO gel, and the sphere on the monopod. And I had her pointing it at the bride. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to just clone her out in post, and it'll be great, and it'll look fine, and I'll be super happy, and it's beautiful and wonderful and whatever. So we shoot a few shots like that, and then we move on, and we finish the shoot, and I get home, and I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, okay, now let's get to work. So I start editing the photo. I spend all this time cloning her out, and I'm realizing as I'm doing this that there's actually that there's this beautiful window light coming in, but then there's this beautiful light coming in on the other side, but it didn't seem to make sense where it was coming from. Yeah. And so I also shared with you the photo of how I sort of had what I thought was going to be my edit. And so it was good, and I was fine with it, but it still just was bothering me that we had this symmetrical pose and we had this symmetrical room, except for the fact that there was no window on that side. Yeah. Well, I'm super novice when it comes to Photoshop. I have not even gotten through Photoshop 101, but there's a couple very basic things that I'm able to do. And one thing I knew I could try was to at least replicate the window and mirror it onto the other side and see if we could justify that light source coming in so that it looked like there was also a window on the other side. So I literally went into Photoshop, I flipped the photo around and just painted in with a brush the window on that side. And so we still now had one light source coming from here, but with the light source shown of the window, and then the light source of the actual window on the other side. And it just helped bring everything together so that it really had this justified symmetrical feel to it. And I definitely was proud that even though I didn't have my initial intention to make it a second window on that side, that it sort of helped make the photo all tied together. So.
Yeah, actually, that ding right there was all of our brains going ding. Like, that makes sense. No, you know what's so great about that shot, and I love that you were able to show that behind the scenes, because and we appreciate that. I know as photographers sometimes we feel like, oh man, if I show the behind the scenes, people are going to think that it's not as good as the final result. But I think it actually makes the final result better, because what it does, it shows that you knew the direction, you knew that you created the slide on this side, and there had to be something that tells the story of where that light came from. And so by basically flipping it and put a window over there, you're saying, hey, look it, there's light coming from both sides. And that's what I love about it. It's like, I don't know, it blew my mind. So
I mean, in a perfect world, there would have been a window there anyway. So right. I felt like I was just doing what the architect wasn't able to do to begin with.
And he probably wanted to. He probably got restricted because it was a government building, and I mean, the whole time. So you should send this to the architect and say, I fulfilled your vision.
There you go.
So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as you talk about these images, we're rolling these up on the screen as well, so people can see them and so forth. So Marlies, another one that you recently posted that has kind of caught a trend or has gotten really popular lately in the community is kind of creating that fake sun. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and maybe where you learned that? What was your inspiration and so forth?
Yeah, so I think it was at Mystic Seminars in 2017 that Crystal Stokes was one of the speakers there, and one of the shots that she shared was her being able to create a fake sunset using her MagMod products. Mm-hmm. And I remember just being totally inspired by that, and I think I've tried it like 2 or 3 times without really reading how to do it and just thinking, oh, I'll figure it out. And I think the first 2 times it was like, the first time I tried it, it was a total fail. And then the second time I tried it, I was like, okay, this is starting to work. It's starting to click. And then the third time I did it, I was like, oh, this actually looks like it's that kind of sunset. And then I recently did it this last time, which is the photos that you're going to share. And I feel like I was so excited with the couple that I actually told them that I should have been paying them for the shoot, because I got so enthusiastic and excited that I was able to finally that I had just a patient, willing couple that was able to be there while I sort of troubleshot, and they were hoping for this beautiful golden hour sunset photos that I have a lot of in my portfolio. And again, it was like the thickest, grayest day, and I even offered to reschedule because I thought it was going to rain, and they didn't want rain photos, and they said, no, we've taken work off, we have to do it now. So I was like, okay, bring in my MagMod, let's do this and see what we can make happen. And we were able to get them the sun flare that they wanted of those sort of golden photos. So if we're looking at the first one, you can see we were actually at a park. So it was also like, not only do we not have sunset, but we're at a park, and which is not so excited.
It was,
which I was not super excited about, but at least there was this really cool like treehouse structure. So I put them up in the treehouse structure, and we were kind of just shooting there. And that's when I said, let's see if we can do the sun flare that I kind of figured out at the last wedding that I shot, and we'll see if we can do it again. And the last time I tried it, I had my assistant behind the couple sort of shooting at them. And I said, I think we've got to get it just like we do when I shoot the sun. Mm-hmm. Is I have the sun is right above the couple about to go down over the horizon. I shoot wide open, and I catch just enough of the light so that I don't get the actual sun in the photo, but I'm able to get that wide open flare that I also know my 135 is really good at capturing. So I went back as far as I could. I had it just a little bit above the couple, and sort of pointing down at them, and I put a full CTO gel on the photo. I put the full CTO gel on the MagMod. And then there was no grid. It was just a sphere.
Yeah. And this
red.
So one thing that I thought was important that you mentioned, well, one, the full CTO, obviously that's going to create that warm light, because if you don't use that, then it's going to look white or blue behind them, right? Yeah. But the other thing that I think is important for people, and just to reemphasize so they can capture this, is that light, you want it just right on the edge, like you were saying, like just barely right on the edge of the frame. Yep. And it's funny because when I shoot something like this, I typically will kind of go like this, kind of go up and down just a little bit, kind of like, and shoot a bunch as I'm doing it.
Exactly.
And
Which
just
is
so
exactly what I do when I'm shooting actual sunset. I do the same thing. I'll sort of
Exactly.
move around the couple shooting so that I can get exactly, when I go back and look, I can find right where I wanted that flare to be and right where I wanted that sun to sort of spill out and make that beautiful, warm, glowy, romantic light.
Love
So
it.
I just love that I'm able to make the kind of photos that I know my couples want, which is, you know, a lot of people come to me because they want those romantic, warm, glowy light photos.
Yeah.
And I finally figured out how I can do it even when the weather sucks. So,
and that's huge. I saw a quote the other day that said a good photographer creates photos whenever, you know, or like good conditions, but a professional photographer creates photos when the conditions suck. Basically,
yeah.
I'm completely making up my own quote now, but it was that idea, that premise that, you know, do you know that quote? What is it?
Yeah, it was on the Fearless website. It was
Was it?
Group or on the Fearless website. Yeah, we was the one that posted it, and it's absolutely awesome, and it makes so much sense, and I want to show it to all of my couples and be like, this is why you hire us.
You know what? Through the magic of video editing, you're seeing that quote right now on the screen. So exactly. Right on. So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that other people in the MagMod community are doing it. And that's why we do these videos, you guys, is so you can literally learn and get inspired by some of these amazing people. Just as Marlies was inspired by Crystal. Crystal is also, she did a How I Shot It some time ago, and she talked a little bit about that as well. So definitely go check that out if you want to even see more information and go see some of Crystal's photos. And she's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So Marlies, let's talk about a few more. We only have a couple more minutes, but how about there's a shot of this couple running in front of this cove. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. So this was a downtown Los Angeles shoot where I was all excited to do a photo shoot downtown that was going to be really urban and different, and I wanted to use really cool pockets of light. And I told them that the whole shoot was going to be based on finding cool pockets of light. So, of course, as we're starting to drive together downtown, I can see the clouds coming in, and sure enough, it is completely gray, and there is absolutely no pockets of light anywhere. So I was really, really grateful that I brought my flash stands and that I brought my MagMod gear, because I knew if I wanted to get them creative light and cool light that I was going to have to make it myself. So they're both lawyers, and so we went to City Hall, which sort of had a bit of significance to them. And I am laying down on the ground in that shot and actually found a razor blade like 2 feet from me after I took this photo. I
love your little add-ons.
No joke. There's a razor blade. I was like, this is what I do. But so I was laying down on the ground, and I had the flash pointing at this little alcove behind them. And then I just had the couple sort of running back and forth and laughing and having fun, because I knew I wanted to sort of show the movement in her skirt. And I know it can get really easy to take to get a couple sort of stagnant when you're working with flash, because you feel more secure and safe if they're not moving. It's one less element that you have to deal with. But I knew once we got the lighting set up that by just having the motion in it would sort of give it something else. And I put this was a full CTO gel and a grid, because I also wanted to bring out the blues in the sky, and have that really warm and blue contrast in the colors of the light, because we had, those really tungsten lights on the building, and then we had the full CTO gel, and I knew it would help bring out the blue of the really gray sky. So
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's wrap with one last image that I think just absolutely deserves attention. And again, guys, go check out Marlies' work. We'll pop up their little Instagram and website and everything else so you guys can go see it. But let's talk about that image of the bride on the stairs. In fact, you just shared it in the group not long ago. But can you tell us a little bit about that? What was going through your mind, and kind of how you put that together?
So we were running late for the ceremony, as every timeline does, and we were getting all the bridesmaids onto the bus. The bride and groom hadn't seen each other yet. They didn't do a first look. And so I know that when I don't get a first look for a couple, that I have a little more pressure on me to at least get a really good portrait of the bride. Mm-hmm. So as we were walking out and the planners, getting everybody onto the shuttle bus, I looked at her really quickly and said, can I please have 2 minutes to take a shot that might be super kick-ass? And she's like, yes, do it, go. So the bride was up on the stairs. I, laid out her veil, took a quick photo that was accidentally underexposed because I was nervous and trying to hurry. And I saw the potential of this photo to be a really cool night shot, because this was probably like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and this is a busy hotel lobby. So I start freaking out. I probably said some bad words in the middle of the lobby, and because I got so excited. And I looked at my assistant and said, I said, flash, monopod, grid, sphere, quarter CTO. And she's like, got it. And I just pointed to the stair. There's like a little landing camera left. And I just pointed there. She knew that's right where she had to stand. She pointed at the bride. We fired probably 5 frames. I was like, we got it. We were done. We got her on the bus within 2 minutes. We were on time. And it was just so fast and so easy. And her mom is like a huge fan of my work. So I also knew I had to get a good photo of her daughter to show her for the day. And so her was really excited to see this portrait.
I think what's so great about it is it just, again, to kind of pull out some important points is, I mean, you shot this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but it doesn't look like it was natural light. I mean, well, it wasn't. I mean, it was using the flash.
I actually think this was a half CTO. It wasn't a quarter. I think
CTO.
we used 2 quarter CTOs because I wanted to be able to bring out more of the blues.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, at nighttime you'll see more of those blues, right? And so the idea was you were trying to mimic what it would look like at nighttime, and then by underexposing, you're able to bring out the light and some of those, you know, the little sconce and I don't know if that's the right word or not, but those little things that basically you would see at nighttime, but you might not have seen if you just shot this, you know, wide open on the stairs, you know, at, you know, 1.4 or whatever, 1.2. So love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great photo, and I think it's a great way of showing people that you can create these looks at any time during the day, and then by using your gel and your grid and your sphere, and that's amazing. I love how you speak in caveman talk too with your assistant. Sphere, grid, have CTO, go.
With my club.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's great.
Honestly, having an assistant is super helpful when you're trying to just work fast. And, you know, of course, when you don't have her, you just bring your light stand. But human light stands are so valuable, and I make sure that she knows how much I appreciate her. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Marlies, we super appreciate you. We thank you so much for being here on the show and how I shot it. And for those of you guys who are tuning in for the first time, be sure to catch us in the MagMod community, where you can see lots more amazing photos, including all kinds of awesome shots from Marlies. In fact, if you guys haven't done this yet, go in the community and just go to the search bar, and you can type in other photographers' names, such as Marlies, and you can see all the posts that she's done and things like that. So thank you. You are amazing. We really appreciate you being here.
It's 100% mutual. We love you guys, so thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. You guys take care.
Bye.